Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I will be reading from the r/EntitledPeople subreddit, so let's jump into it. Named after my father's mistress. I'm having a really crap day, so thought I'd at least give you all something to darkly laugh about. When I was born, my mom had a first name in mind that she really wanted. My father said, "Fine, but I get to choose the middle name." He ended up choosing an extremely exotic middle name that had my mother scratching her head where he even got the idea for it in the first place. But she gave it to me as my middle name regardless. She found out years later, during the divorce, that that was the name of the woman he was fucking at the time of my birth. Fast forward 14 years, my father once again married, and my stepmother was pregnant with my half-sister. Stepmother chooses the first name, a beautiful name that she loves. My father once again asks to choose the middle name. When my mom found out what the middle name was, she just shook her head. Turns out, my father wasn't cheating on my stepmother, but he gave her the middle name of his most serious ex between wives. To this day, as far as I know, neither my half-sister nor my now ex-stepmother know about this. Neither of them has any relationship with him, so I'm not inclined to stir the pot and tell them. They're both good people, and I just don't see the point. As far as my middle name goes, my mother doesn't care. Of course, the first thing I asked her was, "Do you want me to get rid of it?" She said she couldn't care less. It is a beautiful and unique middle name, and I still use it as part of my legal name. He doesn't know that I know about any of this, but it is very illustrative of the fact that he's a narcissistic asshole, in my opinion. Ugh, this is so creepy and weird. Hilarious, but creepy. My mom named me after herself, which I find to be a bit narcissistic in and of itself. And no, it's not a family name that's been passed down. My middle name is simply just her first name, which again, I think is slightly egotistical, but to each their own. However, naming your daughter after your mistress? That is a whole new level. Unacceptable! This is not my story, but my sister's. She gave me permission to post. I will be posting the way she told it to me. A group of coworkers, all female, get together for lunch a few times a month. There is one particular woman who is very loud at work, very dramatic, and causes issues for everyone. But for some reason, she still gets invited to these lunches. We will call her Judy. My sister said it's easier for them to ask her and deal with her for an hour than try and deal with the fallout at work she would create if she were not asked to join the group. There were 5 ladies at lunch this day. They went to a restaurant famous for a red chili pepper in the logo. On the menu, you can get a half serving of chili cheese fries for $7.99 or a full serving for $9.99. Judy orders the half serving. Everyone orders and begins to enjoy their lunch date. The waitress brings everyone's orders and she places Judy's in front of her. Judy sneers, huffs, and pushes the dish away and loudly proclaims, "Unacceptable!" The waitress immediately apologized and asked what was wrong, to which Judy replied once more, "Unacceptable!" Each time the waitress tried to inquire and help, she got the same answer, "Unacceptable!" The rest of the group sat there in shock. This behavior was new, and they had no idea what was wrong with her order either. The manager came around, and he got the same attitude from Judy, only now she was even louder, saying, "Unacceptable!" The rest of the ladies ate their lunch in silence, mortified at her behavior. My sister already does not like this woman, and so she was avoiding all contact with her. They were all so embarrassed by her loud, dramatic complaints. They were all paying separately. As they got up to leave, they went to inquire about paying their bills, and the waitress told them they had been paid. My sister, who was very independent, didn't want her bill waived. She thought maybe management had comped everyone. She wanted to pay. Her lunch was just fine. She was trying to explain to the waitress that she would be happy to pay her bill. Suddenly, a man also in the restaurant stood up and yelled, "I paid your fucking bills. Get the hell out so we can enjoy our meals." Once again, my sister was mortified. As they were leaving, the manager explained to them that they were no longer welcome in the restaurant ever again. All of them. Not just Judy. As they left the restaurant, Judy giggled and said, "Well, I guess that last remark was directed at me. Hee hee hee." Finally, one of the girls asked exactly what was so unacceptable with her perfectly good chili cheese fries, and she replied, "For a $2 difference, they give you way less. $7.99 was too much for a half order." Needless to say, she is no longer invited to ladies' lunch days. What an awful woman. Is this woman Lemon Grab? I immediately pictured her as being Lemon Grab. If you don't know who Lemon Grab is, he's a character on Adventure Time.
Unacceptable condition! Unacceptable!
Honestly, if I were OP, from then on out, anytime Judy did anything even remotely annoying or entitled, I would just scream, "Unacceptable!" in her face. Neighbor steals newspaper, gets caught in the act. So this story isn't my story, but a story of my parents when I was about 3 or so. Okay, so some background here. Back then, we lived in an apartment complex where there would be a door between the elevator door and the doors to the respective households on the floor. So basically, when you look out the door, the neighbor's front door is several feet in front of you. Both of my parents love reading the newspaper, and it was back when everyone preferred paper newspapers over electronic news. My dad had a schedule, and he would read the paper on the subway on the way to work. But one day, the newspaper wasn't at our door. At first, Dad thought that the paper agency had messed up and didn't care. However, he began to suspect that our neighbors were stealing the paper. This was because every day, the neighbor's door would open really early, right after the paper delivery time. So, he came up with an ingenious idea. He woke up really early before the paper arrived. When the paper finally did come, he had my mom sew a piece of string onto the paper and flipped it on its back so the string wouldn't show. He pulled the string under the door and waited. Then, right when he was about to give up, the string moved back out from the door. My dad leapt to his feet, opened the door, and caught our neighbor stealing the paper in the act. Her excuse was that since Dad worked for a large news agency, we would have all the news we wanted, and that she deserved the paper more than we did. Okay, this is hilarious because I actually did this a few weeks ago. I too live in an apartment and one of my packages went missing. So, me being me, was like, oh hell no. So I decided to make a trap by using a decoy package with a piece of string taped to it, then a jingly cat toy tied to the end of the string so I could hear if the package was being taken. Actually, I took a picture of it because I knew no one would believe me, so here's my contraption. See, string, cat toy, package on the other side of the door. Nobody did ever try to steal the package, and honestly, I didn't really have a plan for if someone did. Bombard them, I guess? A flying ninja kick straight to the larynx, perhaps? Or the more likely, sheepishly open the door and say, excuse me, sir or ma'am, it's not nice to steal. Anyways, long story short, my other package that went missing got returned to me. The delivery person just dropped it off at the wrong door. Turns out, my apartment comrades are good, honest people. But anyways, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed these 3 entitled people stories and my failed attempt at petty revenge story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!